All right, let's talk about blitzing. So if you want to disrupt an offense in flag football, you have to bring the heat. But in IFAF 5v5 flag football, you can't just line up anywhere and sprint at the quarterback. There are strict rules governing, who can blitz from where and who has the right of way. So today we're diving deep into the IFAF Flag Football rulebook to look at blitzing or rushing the passer. We're going to cover exactly what it is, the specific parameters every player, coach, and official needs to know, and then we're going to go to the film room and look at real examples and some clips to show you exactly what proper and improper blitzing looks like. So what exactly is a blitz in IFAF rules? In short, blitzing is when a defensive player crosses the line of scrimmage to pull the quarterback's flag before they can throw the ball. Because there's no offensive line, the rulebook balances the game by forcing these blitzers to start further back. Any defender who wants to rush the quarterback must have all parts of their body at least 7 yards away from the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped. Now we treat this 7-yard marker like a plane that you can't even lean over. Simply put, if you want to put pressure on the quarterback, start 7 yards back. Now this yard marker will be indicated by one of the officials. Now, starting 7 yards back is just the baseline because the IFAF Flag rulebook introduces a crucial concept that dictates how a blitz actually plays out on the field. It's called the right of way. So if a defender lines up 7 yards back, they can rush the quarterback once the ball is snapped. But if they want a guaranteed unimpeded path to the quarterback, they must establish themselves as a blitzer. And how do you do that? They give the signal. A defender needs to establish themselves as a blitzer by raising one hand clearly above their head for at least 1 full second prior to the snap. Under IFAF rules, a maximum of 2 players can signal and establish themselves as a blitzer on any given play. By raising that hand, the blitzer earns the right of way. This means that offensive players cannot physically get in their way. With this right of way comes great responsibility. To keep the right of way, the blitzer's rush must be immediate, quick, and in a straight line toward the spot where the quarterback received the snap. If the blitzer hesitates, runs slowly, or changes direction to cover a receiver, then they immediately lose their right of way. They can still rush, but they just are now like any other defender, and the offense is no longer obligated to get out of their way. Now there is one massive exception to the 7-yard rule, and that's handoffs and fakes. So if the quarterback hands the ball off or executes a fake handoff, the 7-yard rule completely evaporates. At that exact moment, any defender, even those who were less than 7 yards away from the line of scrimmage, can cross the line of scrimmage and make a play on the ball carrier. All right, so to recap the parameters, you have to start 7 yards back, raise your hand to get the right of way, you have to rush immediately and directly, and if there's a handoff, all bets are off. And now that we know these rules, let's take a look at some examples that fully flesh these ideas out. Let's head to the film room.
All right, we're here with our first play, and we're starting out pretty simple. This just determines when is a passer considered down when a blitzer, or any defender really, pulls their flag. So in this scenario here, we have a blitzer lined up 7 yards downfield. We have the quarterback standing right here. What we're going to see in this play, I'll just play it out as I'm talking about it, is just the blitzer come, and there's going to be a close throw and pull at almost the same time. So what do we do as officials and as anyone in this situation here? So as per the IFAF rulebook, if the ball is still in the hand of the passer when that flag is pulled, they will be considered down. So it does not matter if that hand is in or that arm is in forward motion. If that ball is still in the hand, it is considered down. This play is really close. It's not really about getting this play right, but let's watch one more time and I'll let you maybe determine what you think. Was this a sack or was this not a sack? Regardless, it's close and we get the luxury of replay and the officials on the field do not. So anyways, let's move on to our next clip. We're going to see what happens when there's an illegal blitz signal. In fact, actually the video we're going to be watching shows you what not to do. So I'm going to explain what happens here. So really simply, we have a blitzer right here. We have the quarterback right here. As you can see in what I mentioned earlier, the hand needs to be above the head. We showed that in the yellow circles earlier. The hand is not above the head. We can see this hand is quite even with the head. And it might not be very clear to the offense who's blitzing or should we give them the right of way or not. If this is the case, the officials should blow this play dead and call an illegal blitz signal penalty. That's not what happens in this play here. We'll just play it out. Ideally, you give that blitzer, hey, hand up. But by the time that snap is imminent, if that hand still is not up, we are supposed to kill that play and an illegal blitz signal penalty is going to be called. So if you're going to blitz and you're going to put your hand up, get that hand up high. For this clip here, we're going to be looking at what happens when the blitzer jumps. And again, this is another example of what happens in the video clip is not what we're supposed to do, but let's use it as a learning opportunity. So as we can see, we have the blitzer 7 yards apart, hand clearly above their head. We have the quarterback on the right side of our screen. That circle completely missed, but that's okay. All right, so what we're going to see here is the blitzer jump before the ball moves. And then they actually kill the play here. So what's interesting here in the IFAF rulebook, if the blitzer jumps, but as you can see, this is a perfect frame to stop it on, the hand comes down. If the blitzer does jump with a hand down, we let the play continue. They obviously cannot rush so this person is leaning over that plane that we talked about. So if they now cross the line of scrimmage at this point, hand down, once the ball is snapped, at that point, we will call it an illegal rush penalty, okay? If the blitzer still had their hand up, let me draw it here. I'll draw 3 fingers. Still had their hand up and they were ahead of that 7-yard marker, then we kill the play immediately and we have an illegal blitz signal. Most people, when they jump over that line or they anticipate the snap count, they do put their arm down. But there are cases where that hand does stay up when they're closer to 7 and therefore would be killed. In this scenario here, we should have let this play continue. Let's watch this one more time. So the blitzer jumps, hand is down. So at this point, they just become another defender. As soon as the hand is down, they might as well be this person. They have the same rights and privileges, this person, this person, this person, all ahead of 7. None of them are blitzers in this case. Yes, they jump, but that is not a reason to kill because their hand is down. So at this point, we shouldn't blow this dead because it's only a penalty now if they cross this line of scrimmage. But if they don't cross and if they drop back into coverage, something like that, then we have no penalty. So that is why we let that go if the hand comes down. Otherwise, we kill it if the hand is up. All right, next up, we're going to be looking at what a shielding penalty is in terms of the blitzer and quarterback relationship. So if you take a look here, we have the offense on our screen going from left to right. We have a blitzer. It's hard to see in this, but they have their hand above their head, even though they are in a low 3-point stance. They are 7 yards away. So they have obtained the right of way. They have held this for more than 1 second prior to the snap. We have the quarterback circled here. And what you're going to see here is a non-contact obstruction on the way to the quarterback. And this is a perfect example of a shielding call. So I'll just let this play through one time here. So even though there's no contact, the blitzer has to avoid 2 people on their way to the quarterback. And therefore, we have an easy offensive shielding penalty. Let's take a look at it one more time here. The blitzer is lined up properly. They're allowed to shuffle along that 7-yard line if they so choose. So if this blitzer, while having their hand up, they're allowed to shuffle along this 7-yard line. They can go from the left side to the right side. That does not matter as long as they are 7. They have their hand up 1 second prior to the snap. Therefore, they cannot be forced to slow down to avoid contact. And if they are, then it's a good offensive shielding penalty here. Whoa. And into the score here. So this score obviously would not count. The offense would move back 5, repeat down. All right, on this next clip here, we're going to be looking at illegal contact on the offense. So shielding occurs when there is no contact that is made, but there is an obstruction. The blitzer has to slow down to avoid contact. And obviously illegal contact requires contact. So what we've seen in this clip here is we have the blitzer properly signaled 7 yards away. We have the quarterback right here on the right side. What we're going to see, I believe it's this receiver here, do a little out and in, and they're actually going to make contact. So this is now a 10-yard and loss of down penalty, but let's just play that out instead of the shielding, which is 5 yards repeat down. So fair enough. It happens to the best of us. The receiver just lost track of the blitzer a little bit, who does have that right away, and they made it through most of the team here. But as you can see, as they're going to where the spot where the quarterback received the snap, they are going to get bumped. It's not a violent hit in this one, but it's still enough to slow them down, make contact in this non-contact game. So therefore, this is a very good illegal contact penalty. In this next clip, we're going to be looking at a blitzer who loses their own right of way. So let's set it up. So we've got the blitzer right here. We've got the quarterback right here. We know that the blitzer can get a free unobstructed path, assuming they're lined up properly in this clip like they are, to the spot where the quarterback receives the snap. So this should look like, in theory, this pink line coming right here. Let's watch this clip and tell me what you think you see from the blitzer. Is it that quick, straight path directly to where the quarterback caught the ball? Now, regardless if when the ball is thrown or not, you can see the hesitation from the blitzer here. They start to go a little sideways here, maybe to try to avoid a little contact from their own player, but not from an offensive player. So therefore, this would not be a shielding call. This would be a blitzer who loses their own right of way because they're not going straight to the spot where the quarterback received the snap. One more time. See, they start going sideways, almost parallel to the goal line for a quick second here, prior to then turning upfield to go to where the quarterback is. So as soon as this happens, they do not have that right of way, and the offense is not obligated to get out of their way. This next play that we're going to watch is a good example of when a blitzer loses their right of way because they change directions. All right, let's set this play up here. So we have the blitzer in red here. We've got the quarterback in blue. Now remember, the blitzer only gets a direct, unimpeded path to the spot where the quarterback receives the snap. In this case here, it's going to be this quarterback here. It's not a side snap. So that is a path. As you can see, the blitzer's kind of on the left side of the hash marks. So this should be their unobstructed path. It's not up here. It's not doing any of these dipsy doodles. It's straight to the spot where the quarterback received it. Let's see what happens here. And as you can see, the center kind of gets in the way. We just called this a shielding a little bit ago when we saw the Mexico blitzer kind of get interfered with without being contacted. So why is this different? The difference is, I'm going to press play and I'll pause it at the moment we will find this out. So right here. So as we see, the quarterback has now rolled out to their left. And this was the original spot where they received the snap. But as we can see, that blitzer who lined up here has gone, who was on the left side of the hash, has now taken a step, and they're actually on the other side of the hash. So they've changed their direction, and therefore they don't get that right of way to that quarterback anymore. So this receiver running a route right here, getting in their way, while it wasn't intentional, this wasn't a block, this was a completely fine play by this receiver. This could have, in fact, if anything, be a penalty on the blue blitzer for getting in the way of the receiver running their route. But I think in this case, it wasn't enough for that. However, we do see that no flag is thrown, and I think that is a good, correct call because the blitzer tried following the rollout, which you can do, but you don't get that unobstructed path when doing so. So in our last clip here, let's look at a good example of what happens when a blitzer lines up less than 7 yards away from the line of scrimmage and has their hand up. So first thing you got to notice is the offense here in red, the blitzer is here circled in blue. You can hear on the clip, you won't be able to hear it in this version right now, but the official is saying blitzer back up, and they are not listening. And that blitzer still has their hand up and is less than 7 yards, and we can count it. Thankfully, there's these handy dandy hash marks here. So this is the line of scrimmage. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You can kind of see the back hash marks is what I'm using. So their back foot is on this line here. But remember, we treat this like a pane of glass. So they are ahead of this as we play forward just a little bit here. Blitzer back up, blitzer back up. They're not backing up. The offense is ready to snap the ball. On the right side here, the offense is expecting to give this blitzer a right of way to where the quarterback received the ball. However, they're lined up improperly, so we can't let this happen. This could be a little bit of a dangerous play, so therefore we're going to kill this before the play even happens. So it's a great job by the official here. Play killed, illegal blitz signal. The offense can choose to accept or decline at that point.
Blitzing in flag football is an art form, and as a former rusher myself, I've seen firsthand just how much impact this one position has on the game. For defenders, timing your rush perfectly from 7 yards away requires explosive speed and the ability to not get juked once you reach that quarterback. And for offensive players, you'll need to know where that blitz is coming from so you don't accidentally get in their way, and this requires a lot of great field vision. Hopefully this breakdown helped clarify the rushing or blitzing rules for your next tournament. Take care.